All right, everybody. Welcome to the Touch of Gaming podcast, episode number 118, recording on Thursday, September 27th, 2012. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me, for some reason, the audio is really quiet today. I don't understand why that is. It's really weird. Joining me, Jared Schultz. Jared, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Lloyd?
I'm doing good. Oh, there it is. Okay, that came back up. So for some reason, I guess my audio connection must be shorting out or something. That was like really bizarre. Or maybe it's just my headphones again. My headphones. I need new headphones.
That's strange.
Yeah.
So know it's something kind of weird, Lloyd?
What's that?
I actually, you posted bonus stage today, right? And I was on vacation last week, so I wasn't in the live show. So I actually listened to you for like the last 2 hours.
Wow.
And now I'm coming on to talk to you.
I am so sorry. That's a cruel and unusual punishment that no one should go through.
Yeah, I get arrested to all sorts of Lloyd Hannison today.
So that's why you had no interest in talking to me tonight. You're like, oh God, fine, I'll do a show. Just stop talking to me. And I was like, it's the first thing I said to him. I don't understand. It all makes sense now.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, let's get into the show. We didn't have a show last week. I'll let you guys know briefly what happened. Jared was away, so I made arrangements with some other people, to show up. And unfortunately, for some reason, the internet was kind of down in my area, which kind of sucks because both myself and Trevor Watman, who is going to be filling in for Jared, we both live in the same city and both use the same internet provider. And our connection was so bad that we couldn't even have a voice Skype conversation without it sounding like we were talking through like wet paper bags filled with rocks. Like it was the worst audio quality I've ever seen. So we left it for a bit, tried again. It got worse, so we just decided to call it a day. And unfortunately, that meant we didn't get a show out because of other things that were happening last week. I was just too busy to get another show done because of my daughter turned 5. So we had some parties and things like that. So that is why there wasn't 118 last week. But I guess
nobody should believe that. Lloyd just wasn't able to carry on without me. I mean, he was lost and just couldn't do it.
It's true. I actually wrote you a long letter about how much I missed you, and then I burnt it because I was just so embarrassed. But thanks, Jared, for letting that out there for the world. They all know my little secret.
Yeah. But I went and visited the Redwoods for a couple of days with the wife and child, and
that was cool. Did you hug any really big trees?
They're so big you can't hug them. Like,
well, your
arms get like.
You can hug them. You can like put your arms around them. You're not all the way around them, but around them somewhat.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like you hear about how big they are, but it's completely different to like experience like what it feels like to stand next to a 300-foot tall tree. You know, like.
Did you drive through any trees?
Yes, I did. There's a post on my Facebook.
Oh, that's the coolest thing ever. I've always seen pictures of that, and it's like, oh, I got to go do that. I want to drive through a damn tree. I need to do that one day. That's awesome.
So funny quick story here. This is totally digressing, but
sure.
You know what happens. Apparently the National Park Service here got out of the business of having trees that you could drive through because they figured it was mean to trees. So all the trees are now privatized. And
really?
So they just make a complete racket off of getting people to pay money to drive through trees. Because like I paid $5 to drive up and around a corner, go through a tree, and that's all I did. $5.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not so excited about driving through trees now.
Well, I mean, $5 you got to do it one time. It's still not that much, but you think about how much money they've got to be making off of their little tree that they own.
Wow. I want to buy a 300-year-old tree and I don't know. It would be free for me to drive through them. I could charge other people and it would pay for itself.
I think this one's like 900 years old. They lived to like 1,500 years.
That's just so insane. And here we are. We're a race of people, or we're a species of people that are like cutting down forests and rainforests, and just like if you let your trees last a long time, you can drive through them. Come on, what's better than that? Like keep the rainforest, let them grow like crazy, and then drive through the trees when they're old enough. It's so much better than cutting them down.
This is your local. This is our public service announcement portion.
Save trees so you can drive through them later. I gotta play that. The more you know. whatever that NBC or ABC thing is.
And we have the title of our podcast in the first 5 minutes.
The more you know. Exactly. Cool. So let's get into the show. You had a little announcement you wanted to lead off with, so I'll give you the floor, Jared.
Same announcement I've been talking about for a while. Extra Life. We actually had Todias, who is a active follower of ours. He joined our team. He joined the Starmen, and I talked about it with my wife. We made a deal. I will donate $10 to anyone who joins our team. So if you want to get $10 towards your raising money for Children's Hospital, whatever one you donate to, I will give you $10 if you join our team.
That's awesome. So when does this all take place again, and how can people join if they want to join?
It is coming up in 3 weeks on October 20th, the 24-hour video game marathon. You go to extra-life.org, and I need to check that because I would hate, yes, extra-life.org, and you can sign up there. And like I said, if you join the Starmen, which me and my brother are leading up, then I will just give you a $10 donation. So yeah, everyone come join and make me pay a lot.
Let's get 1,000 people to join the Starmen. That would be amazing.
And bankrupt Jared. That sounds great.
Then we can have a podcast where we laugh at Jared as he sits there and cries into his hands. That would be terrible. What am I saying? That would be horrible. No one do that. But if you
everyone can join.
Awesome. All right, well, let's move on. Let's move into the show before I make Jared a broker. Jared, what you been playing?
I have been playing a ton. I was on vacation, and I kept having moments where I had time to play, and so. But the funny thing about my playing list is, like, none of it's new. Like, it's like it was like clean out the iPod 2 weeks for me, which was great, and it really needed to happen. So first, I played Where's My Water? I don't know if you've ever heard of it. You give water to an alligator.
Yes, and it had a spin-off.
I just played that one, and I had never played it before.
Yeah, did you play the spin-off version of Where's Your Water?
Yeah, Where's My Perry?
Where's My Perry?
Anyway.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's a good game. Really good game. Uh-oh.
I just decided to play Where's My Water, and I got through the first 50 levels, and...
Can I get you to flip off your video, Jared? We're going to turn off your video for this show.
Lloyd?
Yeah, we're breaking up.
Okay, yep, no problem.
Looks like my internet problems have not gotten any better.
Can you still hear me, Lloyd?
I can.
Okay.
Continue.
I have no video. So I was playing a lot of Where's My Water. Then next I was playing Total War Battles. So Total War Battles, it's kind of like one of those lane games where you're trying to fight the lanes, and it's a spin-off of Total War Shogun. And it's almost like they expect you to buy it because it has the Total War name, which is, pretty well respected in the PC community. And I can't recommend this one. Like, I was looking around, and a lot of people really like it. It's just so slow. Like, I don't know. It needs like a triple speed or something like that, because at the normal pace, I was like falling asleep while waiting for my guys to get to the other side of the screen. So yeah, then I was playing Jet Set Go, time management game. You basically run a travel agency. My wife really liked it, and it was on my iPod, so I played it some, and yeah, it's pretty good. If you like time management games, it's a really good one. Galaxy on Fire 2, exploring the universe that they have there. Really fun game, really well put together. I was actually trying to play it because the new download DLC came out for it, and I still am nowhere near far enough to get that DLC, because apparently the DLC, it's pointless to buy it unless you've already finished the game, finished the main storyline, because it's a linear storyline and you can't do anything. Then I've been playing Guardian Cross. This is by Square Enix. It is a card battler, and it is, well, I suppose if you like card battlers, it's good, but I found it really, really boring. There's a fun little mini game. Well, not really that fun, but you go and you hunt little animals, and when you get an animal or a monster, it becomes your card. and there's a little bit of a story with it, which is nice because the other card battlers I've tried to play haven't really had a story much with it. It's just been like really just push the button. But yeah, I don't really think card battlers are something I'm very interested in. Yes, and then I've been playing Extinction Squad. So Extinction Squad, um, it's a high score game, and you're trying to save a whole bunch of endangered animals as they run off a cliff.
And it's
actually
an Adult Swim game as well, so that gives you kind of an idea of what kind of humor the game's going to have.
yeah, that and just the fact that it's an Adult Swim game kind of explains a lot of it. It's funny, and I actually thought it was pretty enjoyable. Like to play a little bit of time. I enjoyed it. So it went free, and so if you find it, it's also done by Pickpock in conjunction with Adult Swim, and Pickpock has had some really good stuff too. They had that one bird game where you go up, and then there's also you have to also guide him down. It's like a jump up as far as you can, and then once you're done jumping up, you go down. That doesn't really explain anything. Bird Strike. And then Hambo, which is by Miniclip. And I think Miniclip is just making all of their money by making the exact same game and then reskinning it. Because they had Fragger, and then they had Monster Island, which were really similar. And then Hambo, which is like the exact same thing, except for you're a pig that looks like Rambo. Hence Hambo. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I think that it just felt a little bit too similar to the other ones, and I don't really know if you like that type of game. It's a great physics puzzler where you are shooting different bad guys, and you're trying to figure out how to do it in the least amount of shots and that type of thing. And then I've been playing Lego Harry Potter. No, not Lego Harry Potter, the second one. Lego Harry Potter years 1 through 4. Finally getting around to it.
Nice. Well, it's a good game, though. It's worth playing.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good game and worth actually checking out. So it's been a lot, but like I said, nothing super new. I guess Guardian Cross is a little new, but anyway, what have you been playing, Lloyd?
Cool. Been playing lots. Before I get into this, just wanted to let you guys know that we are having some audio difficulties. So if there's pauses and other things, we're going to try to battle through it. So apologize in advance if this stuff keeps up. Okay, into what I've been playing. I've been playing a game called Apocalypse Max. I think it's by the company Wandake, or I think that's the name of the company. I don't know. But anyway, it's a side-scrolling shooter where you play a guy and you're shooting zombies and other various things. It's a lot of fun. It has levels, which is different than a lot of these like kind of side-scrolling I don't know, high score kind of games, although this one isn't a high score game, but it's similar to some of the other ones that were out there. There's a bunch of different levels. You can get between 1 and 5 stars on the different levels. And as you go up from level to level, they get increasingly more difficult. You get different enemies, and stuff like that. When you kill enemies, they drop gold. You use that gold to buy new weapons and to buy upgrades for the weapon that you currently have. And that's about it. It has a really awesome art style. Like, it's fully hand-drawn, well animated. It's just a game that I saw the screenshots for, and I'm like, oh, okay, I definitely got to play that. It's universal as well, so I've been playing it mostly on my iPad and checking it out. So if you're into like those side-scrolling shooter-type games and you want something that is pretty awesome, you might want to check out Apocalypse Max. I think it's $3. So not super expensive. I've also been playing Bad Piggies, which came out, I guess, last night. And we'll talk about that one probably in another episode. It's the new Rovio game, except you don't play the birds anymore. You play the piggies. And it's not a toss stuff at things to make them blow up game. It's a build a ship or a plane or a car and try to get to the end of the level with certain goals met so that you get stars. So it's totally different than Angry Birds, but it's still kind of physics based, and It's actually a lot of fun. I've been playing it. I'm most of the way through the first world, obviously not 3-starring every single level. And I got to say, I'm enjoying this more than Angry Birds. At first, when I saw it, or when I first played it, I'm like, it's kind of boring. But then I really took some time to play it, and it's a lot slower. It's a lot more tactical. There's a lot more strategy that you have to use than just like pull back a slingshot and let go. So it's not as easy to pick up and play, but it is a heck of a lot of fun. So hopefully I'll play that a little bit more over the next week, and we can do a review for you next week, because definitely worth playing. Bad Piggies available 99 cents on the iPhone and $2.99 on the iPad, which I hate. Rovio, please just create universal apps, charge me $2.99 and let me play it on both. I don't care. Or yeah, at least make the iPad one universal, so I don't have to buy the iPhone one at the same time. Crazy. I've been playing a game called The Room, which I actually picked up yesterday because I saw some really good reviews, and I beat it in one day. I'm gonna save the review for next week probably, or maybe an iOS Pulse or something, just because I got so much other stuff to review. But it's basically a puzzle game where there's a really great story. It's really kind of creepy and suspenseful, and you have to get into a box, and that is really what the game is all about. But it's better than that. It's better than that sounds. There's a whole bunch of different puzzles and tricks, and you build this little eyeglass that lets you kind of see things in a different way. It's a lot of fun. If you're into puzzles, it's a game that you definitely must own. It's $4.99 on the App Store, and it plays on the iPad, and it's probably one of my favorite games that I played over the last little while. I've been playing a lot of Lili, which is another $5 game. Seems to be that's what a lot of games are coming out for now on the iPad, which I don't mind. Developers get a little bit more money so they can make games in the future. That's pretty cool. And it basically, it's an Unreal Engine app. I'm going to be reviewing it in this episode, so I'm not going to get too deep into it. But it's basically you running around an island that's set into a bunch of different parts and picking flowers. As lame as that sounds, it is a really awesome game. So I'll review that one in this episode. Also been playing Rayman Jungle Run, which I'll be reviewing this episode. So I'll save that for then. Playing a game called Wonder Putts, which is a really awesome mini golf. But it's not mini golf. It's like mini golf set in an Escher painting. It's really bizarre, but really awesome. Street Fighter Cross Tekken Mobile came out, so it's a $3 version of Street Fighter Cross Tekken with 10 fighters, 5 Street Fighter characters, and 5 Tekken fighters. It's online enabled with you can have online matches. Really good if you're into fighters. Capcom keeps coming out with these really awesome fighters, and this one is no different than that. And
so on that one, I heard that you have to pay if you want to play online.
No, you get it. It's kind of like freemium. Like how freemium games are set. So you have a certain amount of online credits per day, and then if you want to play more online matches, you can wait for them to regenerate, or you can pay some money to instantly regenerate them.
Okay.
So it's kind of lame, but if you limit yourself to like 10 matches or whatever it is, and then let it sit for a bit and then get back into it, you're never going to have to pay. But if you're someone that's all you want to do, you will be tossing money at this game if you want to keep playing online.
Yeah, I heard like if you win, you get your credit back and something like that.
Yeah, it's similar to like old arcade like mechanics where you put a quarter on the top, and if you win, you keep playing, but someone else has to keep pumping the credits in to keep the game going. Similar to that, obviously without like the whole arcade machine kind of motif, but it's a similar idea, I guess.
That's interesting. Interesting to see people experimenting at least, right?
Exactly. I don't know if you can move your mic up just a touch. I'm getting some breath on it. And I've also been playing Macheist, but we'll get into that when we get into the news. All right, well, that's about it. I've been playing a lot. I've actually been playing a lot more than I even talked about. There's just so many really awesome games that have come out in the last little while. So hopefully next week will be equally as large when I get into that. So let's go jump right into notable releases. First up, I wanted to make mention that the Magic 2013 app got its first set of DLC. So it is a $4.99 booster set, which gives you 5 2-color decks and a bunch of other missions and plane walker stuff and just a whole bunch of content for $5, which is the same price that it is across all the other platforms that it's on. So if you're into Magic the Gathering, you're definitely going to want to pick this one up. It adds a lot more playability to an already awesome game at $10. So check that out. And then I guess some really interesting games that we wanted to quickly cover that came out last week and this week. The first one is interesting, I guess we'll say, and that is Squaresoft coming out, or Square Enix, sorry, showing my age there, calling them Squaresoft, has come out with another game. This time it's not free with in-app purchase. It's $7 with in-app purchase. It's called Demon Score. It's a rhythm action game similar to like Elite Beat Agents type idea, or Rhythm Heaven, I guess, with some of the things that you do in it. And basically the game, I haven't played it because it's $7 with crazy in-app purchases, which I'll tell you. But basically it has you taking the place of an angel or a girl who then can get possessed by different demons, and you run down this corridor doing this like rhythm action game to a music track, and then when you get to the end of the hall, you get into like some battles. So if you want to play other songs, so think games like Guitar Hero, and think of Guitar Hero shipping with one song. And then if you wanted to play more songs so that when you get to the fun part of the game, you would have to pay for each additional song that you can play. That is what this one does. Essentially, to get another song, which is they're called skins. So you buy a skin which changes the look of your character, gives you a different voice, and has a different song for you to play through till you get to the end of the section where you play the other part of the game. But you have to do that for every song. So it's a $7 game that has $37 worth of in-app purchases to basically make the game fun, because a rhythm action game like Guitar Hero wouldn't be fun if it was the same song over and over and over again. So I don't know, Jared, what do you think about that?
I've already beat this game.
You bought the DLC twice.
Yeah, of course. I think it is absolutely insane. We've already went and ranted and raved about Square.
Mm-hmm. We did,
and I don't really want to do it again. But like, this takes everything that they've already done and just like makes it look petty compared to this. Like, this is highway robbery. Like,
yeah, it's like rhythm action is about like playing games on songs. So it's about the music as much as it's about the game. So it's taking the music out of the music game and making you buy it one chunk at a time. Like, it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And it's even weirder when you think in Japan, you can buy the full game for $20 and it comes with everything unlocked. Like, there's no in-app purchases. So they're charging us $44 to play this game. So that's like buying a DS cart. Like, that's more than buying a game for my DS, which is like $39.99 or $34.99 or $29.99. I don't know. Like, this is just so weird. I really don't get it.
Yeah, I keep wondering how much success they're having with these, extremely aggressive, in some ways predatory pricing practices. And it's really interesting on this one because if you look at it, it has a really low review score. Mm-hmm. Everyone is talking about how bad it is.
Yeah.
And, hopefully at some point they will learn. And at this point, if they don't, I don't really care anymore. Like, I used to be a huge Square Enix fan, mm-hmm. But I just don't care anymore. I just feel like they don't care about their customers anymore. And,
totally. No, I feel taken advantage of a little bit on the App Store from that company, which it's like, especially with this game, like, you're charging someone $7 and you're not even giving them the game. You're giving them the engine, and you have to buy the game in little chunks to actually have some fun with it. So bizarre. If we've ever complained about Gameloft, we were probably a little bit mistaken in those complaints, because this is like the worst. The worst. All right, moving on. This week we got a couple really interesting releases. We had a game called God of Blades. It's $3, and it's an endless runner fighting game, which is just set in this really beautiful world. It's a game that I'm definitely going to be picking up after I get through a couple more games off my iPad. It is just a really awesome looking game. So if you're looking for another kind of endless runner, but with a kind of a fighting mechanic, definitely one that you should at least look into. There's some YouTube trailers and things online that you can check out. We had Mech Warrior Tactical Combat came out. It's $10, and it is basically a top-down Mech Warrior. Is it a RTS or a turn-based strategy game?
It is not turn-based. It is real-time.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's a bit like Mech Commander if you played it on the PC, more than actually Mech Warrior, because Mech Warrior is either the tabletop game or the one where you're actually in a mech. Where this one you actually have a lance of mechs of 4, and you're basically trying to accomplish different missions across different sites. But yeah, I was really interested in this one, but it's not getting great reviews. I'm a little nervous for it. So
yeah, it looks interesting. It looks like something I'd want to play. But I don't know if I want to take the $10 plunge, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm hoping to wait and find out some more information on it. So.
Exactly. Cool. I said Big Bad Piggies came out. The new Rovio Angry Birds themed game. 99 cents for the iPhone, $3 for the iPad. And this is a game that you put in, Zen Forms Protectors. So tell us about Zen Forms.
Well, everyone knows I'm looking for a good Pokemon clone. Well, not really, but I'd like a good, nice, like collecting catch 'em all game where you get a train and stuff like this. And we've tried a couple of them that were just absolutely horrible, like unconscionable. And this one actually looks to be pretty good. So I picked it up yesterday. It looks like it might be a little bit short, but they're saying that they're bringing out a whole bunch of more content as downloadable packages that will be free, they said. That makes me a little nervous sometimes. Sometimes I think the whole being able to update whenever you want makes people bring out their games when maybe they're not quite ready because they figure they can just patch it later.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, I'm going to give this one a chance. I already bought it, and hopefully you'll be able to hear a few more of my thoughts on it next week.
Cool. All right, well, let's move along. Let's get into the reviews. First off, I want to talk a little bit about Macheist. I know this is an iOS show, and Macheist is based around Macintosh software. But this year for Macheist, well, first, if you don't know what Macheist is, it's an event where it's happened for years and years and years, where this really great group of people put together this online scavenger hunt / puzzle solving / ARG, some of the Macheist from early on thing where you solve all these puzzles and missions and things and solve the puzzle to get discounts off of what is essentially a bundle of software that comes later. So you'll get 10 apps that are worth like $700. The bundle is $50, but if you've done all of the Macheist, you can get it for like $20. So they've done it for a long time. And I'm a huge fan of this. I love puzzles. I love puzzle games. And Macheist is just a group of people getting together to solve these missions, and it's like this great feeling of community when everybody's working together to solve them. So this year for Macheist, they've come out with a series of apps. So everything before, which you'd be doing just in your browser and solving on your Mac to then get software, you're now downloading these free apps on your iPhone, your iPad, or your Mac, which then allow you to play these great puzzles, and then you'll unlock software by doing it. So if you don't have a Mac, you can still play the games and get through these really awesome puzzle games for free. And then if you do have a Mac, you get some free software. So for example, if you install the Macheist agent, which is just it's a little application that will alert you when there's new missions out, they give you a free copy of Corel Paint It, which is a $40 piece of software for your Mac, and episode 1 of Back to the Future, which is free on most platforms, but they give you one for your Mac, which is kind of cool. Then there's Nano Missions. So the first Nano Mission gave you a copy of Netshade, which is a online proxying software. So it's a $30 proxy software that you get for free just by playing Nano Mission 1. Mission 1, you get Calendar Plus, Fractal, and Mac Hider. Nano Mission 2, you get Permute, which is a really great file conversion programs. So if you have like an MKV or an AVI and you want to put it on your iPhone, you just drag it to this program and it just like squirts it down to whatever device format you want to use, which is really kind of cool. And Mission 2, which just came out yesterday, you get a copy of Paint Me Pro for your Mac, Num Notes, which is like Notepad / sticky notes for calculations, which is probably going to come up in future Macheist. You're going to be using this to kind of put all your stuff together, and a free version of Hector Badge of Carnage, which is the first Hector game, which is like kind of a point and click adventure. So really kind of interesting. If you don't have a Mac, you can still download the 4 apps that are out there on the App Store and play some really great puzzles. There's things where there's like tangrams where you're putting like different shapes together to basically different geometric shapes together to form another shape. There's different sliding puzzles and things like that. So I wanted to mention it just because I know a lot of the people that own iOS devices might already have a Mac at home, and this is a great way for you to get some free software for nothing. If you install Macheist Agent and complete Mission 1, 2, Nano Mission 2, and Mission 2. So Nano Mission 1, Mission 1, Nano Mission 2, Mission 2, you get these little discount coins as well. So if you do eventually want to buy the bundle when it comes out, you'll get dollars off for each of these things that you complete. So anyway, a really neat thing. Even if you're not an iOS or a Macintosh user, an OS 10 user, you can definitely have a lot of fun with this stuff. So definitely check it out over at macheist.com, or you can just go to the App Store and look for Macheist Agent, and that will give you pop-ups whenever there's a new mission. And then there's, as I said, 4 other apps that you can download, and they're all free, and you get to play some puzzles and then get some free software that you may or may not be able to use. But anyway, it's all about the game. So are you a Mac heister, Jared? I know you're not a Mac user, but have you ever done any Mac heists just for the fun of the puzzles?
I actually haven't, to be honest.
You should try it on the iPhone. Let us know what you think next week. It's a lot of fun, actually.
All right. Yeah, maybe I will.
Cool. All right, so that's it for Macheist. Moving on, what do you want to tell us about a great ripoff that's on the App Store right now, Jared?
Hey, have you ever played Super Mario 3D Land?
I have, in fact.
What would you think if you could play Super Mario 3D Land on your iPhone?
I would say Iwata, the chairman of Nintendo, has gone crazy and finally announced iOS ports of all their great games. Or someone ripped them off.
What if it's an absolutely terrible copy and looks just like horrendous?
So then it's definitely a ripoff.
Okay, yeah, it's totally a ripoff. So for 99 cents right now, you can get 3D Cartoon Land Safari. And if you look at the pictures, it looks so much like a Mario 3D Land. Mm-hmm. Everything from the coins to the boxes and the smiling clouds and the flag at the end. It is a complete ripoff, but it's like really low quality animation. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the trees are seriously just like shapes, like brown, green ovals on little brown rectangles. And It looks like I don't know. Sometimes I just wonder how these blatant ones get through. Clearly they don't look at every app, or if they do look at them, the people who reviewing them know nothing about video games, and because otherwise you would totally recognize this as a knockoff.
Yeah. So, and you know what's, it's funny because the in-game character is horrible. Like whoever designed the in-game character, like the guy that you run around in, it's just like the worst character model ever. I would have almost hoped that it would have been like a stick figure in a Mario hat. It would have made this game look that much better because the character is just horrendous.
Oh yeah, it's really bad. And even like the bad guys look like Goomba and Koopa. And I just I think the reviews say it all. Complete waste of my time and money. I've played better free games than this. Unless you don't play this, unless you like to torture yourself by playing bad games.
That's awesome. Yeah, I did buy it, and I couldn't get past.
Lloyd.
And because I wanted to play it just so I could talk about it on the show, and I couldn't even get past the first world. I mean, I could get past the first world, but I just didn't want to. It's that horrible. It is just it's a bad game. Totally.
Is it going
bad.
in your collection of apps that you got that later got banned?
Yes, it is. It's one of those. Yeah, it's terrible, terrible, terrible. Don't do it. Don't do it. 99 cents. They should have priced it at 99.99 because no one should be buying this thing
Yeah.
except for me because I'm an idiot. All right, moving on to a game that you will be able to play soon, which is going to be better than whatever this is called, 3D Cartoon Land Safari. Gameloft has started letting out teaser trailers for its next Modern Combat game, Modern Combat 4 Zero Hour. So this is obviously the sequel to Modern Combat, which is their like Call of Duty kind of knockoff game. So you're running around with real weapons, fighting people and insurgents and things like that. So not really much has been said about the game. There's a teaser trailer, which is about a minute long, which shows some of the scenes that you'll see. There's some screenshots released that show like aerial combat and tanks and things. It looks really, really good. Actually, it's actually kind of amazing, and I'm really kind of excited about picking this one up when it comes out. So if this follows the normal Gameloft release cycle, they release a teaser, and then 2 weeks later you're playing it on your device. So look for this in the next couple weeks or so. Probably mid-October, if I had to guess, will be when this one comes out. But I'll link to the YouTube video that kind of gives you the reveal of what Modern Combat 4 Zero Hour is all about. It's basically about a president having his kid kidnapped, I believe. So it's something that's been done before, but could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and moving on. So the next one is Mistwalker. So Mistwalker, it's a studio that's headed up by a Japanese guy that is one of the original founding fathers of Final Fantasy, I guess, one of the main guys. Mm-hmm. Sakaguchi,
yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And since he founded this other studio, they did Blue Dragon, and then they announced after that they're going to iOS, and they did Party Wave, which nobody cared about. And then they just announced that Blade Guardian, their next game, is going to be out next week, actually on the 1st, so they're not going with the Thursday release schedule. They're going to release it on Monday. And it's a tower defense game, but it also looks like it has some action-y elements in it. And it has kind of a cool art style where it looks like a kind of space-type world, and, but it's also a tower defense game, and there are a lot of tower defense games, so it's gonna have to do something special to stand out, and we'll see next week.
Yeah, I mean, it looks the screenshots look pretty amazing. Like, it's kind of like mechs and fire, and it just looks like something that would be really fun to play. And I do like Mistwalker. Like, I liked Blue Dragon. I don't really remember even what Party Wave was all about. So I obviously didn't like that one, but I'm really excited for what they're bringing to the App Store. So looking forward to that in the future. Okay, Tokyo Game Show came out recently, last week, I believe. Did it just end up? It just finished, didn't it?
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, because they had all the PlayStation announcements and things like that. There was some iOS love there, which is pretty interesting to see out of Japan. You had some really big Japanese creators showing off kind of what they're working on for the iOS App Store. And I mean, there's the Capcoms and various things, so it's not new, but it's always interesting to see like these big franchise names coming to the App Store. So it was announced that Mega Man X-Over, or it's probably Crossover, is going to be coming out. It is basically an auto-running game where you jump and shoot as Mega Man, and I'm sure since it's a Mega Man game, you're going to be getting different Mega Man power-ups. You're going to be fighting common enemies that you've fought hundreds of times before in different Mega Man games. Looks really interesting, actually, and something that I'm going to want to check out. And Metal Gear Solid Social Ops was shown off in greater details. It was announced before, but there was some actual hands-on for some media websites and things out there, and it's pretty interesting. It's a card game, so I guess it's similar to, say, what a Metal Gear Acid would be if you played that back in the day when it came out on the PSP. So you get cards, and the cards do something. You play them, and then they basically affect the world. But this game seems to be more just card battles, not so much a real world RTS or turn-based strategy like what Metal Gear Acid is. It's social, so it is online. It's basically it's going to be hard. There's a YouTube video that I can link to, but it's all subtitled in Japanese and Japanese words, and the cards are in Japanese, so you probably won't get much out of it unless you read Japanese, which I don't. But it looks like it's an interesting game, and it definitely looks like one I'm going to want to play if it gets actually translated properly and comes out. So hopefully this will come out, and we'll be able to play it here in North America. So Tokyo Game Show, some really great stuff coming, and hopefully coming soon. So Mega Man crossover, Metal Gear Solid, Social Ops, look for those in the near future, and we'll let you know when they are coming stateside.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff out of Tokyo Game Show. But yeah, it's usually not one that caters a lot to the mobile market, and it's interesting to see that there were probably a bigger mobile presence this year than any year in the past, and it's kind of the wave of the future a lot. So
yeah, totally. And it's actually pretty interesting because it's like a lot of the things, like a lot of these games probably won't even come to North America, or a lot of the games that are developed over there for iPhone don't even come over here. Like you get certain games that are announced and launched in Japan, and then people like create Japanese app store accounts to download them, and even though they can't read them, it's just like importing Japanese games. These properties like Mega Man and Metal Gear Solid, like they're as popular in North America as they are in Japan, so we're pretty much guaranteed to get them over here. It's probably just a matter of time.
Yeah, there's a couple other franchises that had mobile games that I was really interested in. Valkyria Chronicles and Nipponichi Shoda Disque, which is one of my favorite series. And sadly, at this point, I would be really surprised if they came over to the U.S. because they're not U.S. type games. So
Exactly. Cool. All right. Well, that's going to about do it for news. Jared, what do you say we get into our reviews?
Sounds excellent.
All right. Well, I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to start off with a review of Rayman Run, or I guess it's Rayman Jungle Run. The icon itself says Rayman Run, but it's Rayman Jungle Run, I believe. And it's a game by Ubisoft, and it's $3 on the App Store. And if you've heard Rayman being talked about in the last year or so, it's about the really great Rayman game, where basically you're looking at like old style, like Disney like cell based animation. It's pretty amazing actually, playing that game and just watching some of the animation. So when Ubisoft announced that they're bringing a version of Rayman to the iOS, I was kind of skeptical that it wouldn't look as good. But when it was finally announced and shown off, they actually turned this game from a kind of platformer where you're running around as Rayman and his friends collecting various things, to an actual like auto runner. So similar to like a Temple Run, except in 2D, not in 3D. It had me kind of intrigued. So when this hit the App Store, it actually didn't come out on the normal like Wednesday night, Thursday release. It came out on like a Tuesday, so I downloaded it and played it like far too late in the evening when it actually came out. And I gotta say, if you were skeptical at all about the animation style, there is absolutely nothing to be skeptical about. This game is phenomenal. So you play Rayman, so that's the guy with a floating head and floating legs and floating feet and floating hands and a body, and you're basically running through levels collecting those little firefly things whose name I can't think of right now. So they're kind of like coins. So basically you play through a series of different auto run levels. But interesting, what they've done is they've divided the levels into groups of, I guess, chunks, but into 4 chunks. So, and each of those chunks has a different mechanic. So the first one that you play through is the jump mechanic. So you pick a level. There's 10 levels in each of these chunks, so 40 levels in total. And when you're playing jump, basically all you can do when you touch the screen, you jump. Pretty simple. So you basically have to get through the level and jump. You can wall jump, and you collect coins and various things, and you try to get to the end of the level collecting all of the little firefly guys. And if you make it to the level and you have all of the firefly guys, if you've collected all 100 that are in the level, you'll get I guess a ruby that looks like a tooth, because it is a tooth. It's a tooth for the little skeleton dude. And if he collects all 10 or all, I guess, 9 teeth, he opens the 10th level, which is a like super almost impossible to memorize level. And that is basically Rayman Run in a nutshell. What they've done to kind of encourage you to unlock all of the worlds is there's of course achievements. And there's unlocks of high quality, I guess, high res wallpapers. So if you're playing this on your iPad and you have a new iPad like I have, it looks gorgeous. Like they have Retina graphics in this one, and it just looks like it looks like an old school Disney animation. They actually have the same engine. I believe it's called the Ubisoft cell engine or something like that, or animation engine. So it's the same engine that runs on the PlayStation 3 and the 360 and the Wii, or I guess the Wii U for Rayman Legends, which is coming out. And so it's basically the same engine and probably using a lot of the same actual graphic elements, but it's phenomenal. So anyway, that's a little bit about the game. There are 10 teeth to uncover in each of the 40, or I guess each of the levels blocks, 40 of the levels. So you can basically play this game until you've collected all 40 of the ruby teeth looking things. So I said there's different mechanics in each block of 10 levels. So the first one is jump. You tap the screen, you jump, and that's all it is. You're constantly running left to right until you like hit a cliff and fall to your death, or you hit like a thing that stops you from moving. And then if that happens, you can hit like the jump button and you'll kind of back up a little bit and then start jumping. So it's not totally punishing if you're not perfectly timed when you're coming to like dead ends, but if there's like a spiky plant or something in front of you, if you're not perfect on your timing, you will die. The next group of 10 levels has the fly mechanic. So basically it's more like a hover than a fly. So if you tap and hold, you start spinning your ears and you'll start floating down to the ground. They've also introduced in the fly groups of world updrafts. So some of the levels will have sections where if you float and you're in an updraft, you'll actually start going up. And you basically have to time your holding and letting go to collect the different firefly dudes that are strewn throughout the levels. The third group of 10 levels has the wall run. So basically, if you're running at a wall and it has a curve on like the ground, so it curves up towards the wall, you'll actually just keep running up it, and you can keep running without even worrying about gravity. And that basically now has the jump, wall run, and fly all baked into one, because you have to do, in certain levels, you have to do all that different type of stuff. And then the fourth group of levels has punch. So there's these evil guys that are torturing your friends, and you can basically punch them. So in other worlds, if you saw them, you'd have to jump on their head. In this one, you can hit the punch button to punch them. And there's also like wooden walls that you punch through. So anyway, 40 levels, you unlock things in the gallery. You unlock some really great pictures by collecting your little firefly friends. They're called lums. And that is pretty much what the game is. The thing that I loved about this game is it's all about memorization. So when you play a world, it's the exact same. It's not random at all. So you can memorize the location of all the lums. You can memorize where all the coins are. You can memorize where all the enemies are, all the spike plants. Some of the levels have these little vines that grow out and do stuff, and they'll either kill you or give you platforms to jump on. So it just becomes a battle with yourself to try to memorize the level and get your reflexes down to the point where you can actually make all the jumps that you want to do. It's a gorgeous game. It sounds great. Like I'll turn on some of the music. So it's just like very stylized. and it's, I don't know, it's just a game that I love. I can't stop playing it. I haven't gotten all 40 of the rubies because some of the levels are just stupid hard, especially when you unlock the last level. It is like smack you in the face difficult, where you basically have like a split second timing from like getting over things that you're trying to jump over and getting under things that are like pointy on the roof that'll kill you if you touch them. It's as difficult as like Run or any of the other kind of Twitch platformers. But it's all wrapped up in this really great package, really great art style, and a lot of fun to play. So anyway, that's Rayman Run, or Rayman Jungle Run, I guess, as it's called. $2.99 on the App Store. It's great. 40 levels. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. It's a game that I think almost anybody will love. It does get really difficult really fast. Like the first group of 10 levels, I pretty much got through. I think there was only like one world that I didn't get the like all 100 lums on my first playthrough. So I was unlocking rubies like crazy, and I'm like, holy, this is stupidly easy. I'm gonna just breeze through this game. And then you get to the second world, and I basically only got 2, and I was like, okay, obviously it's not going to be really easy. And then as you get to the other ones, there's just more Twitch mechanics thrown in, so the difficulty curve is maybe a little bit too steep. The first 10 are really easy, and then it gets really difficult really fast. And 40 levels is maybe a little bit light. I know you can beat them without getting like 100 lums in each level relatively quick, maybe within about an hour or so. Of course, it's going to take a lot more time to kind of master it. It'd be nice to see kind of, I don't know, sort of hints in here that maybe more levels were coming. I don't see anything. I don't see any like kind of grayed out coming soon kind of graphics or anything like that. So I'm thinking that maybe this is like the whole complete package. For $3, it's pretty damn good, and it's a pretty good value for your money anyway. So yeah, anyway, that's my review. Rayman Run, $3 on the App Store, gets a 4 out of 5. Go check it out if you're into auto runners. It's probably one of the best ones that is available on the iPad right now.
How long does one level take?
Levels can take anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute and a half, depending on how like the level and the layout and stuff like that.
Any thoughts? Do you think that they'll bring out more levels? Probably if it's successful, huh?
Yeah, like I said, there's really no hint of that. There's no like kind of shaded area. There's no arrows pointing over that you can slide through or anything like that. I really hope they do. Maybe even if it's like in-app purchase, just because the game itself is really great. There's a whole bunch of like great achievements and things to get as well. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really do hope they come up with other levels. But if you have a new iPad, the game just looks gorgeous. It looks like you're watching like a real animation that someone would do if they had talent, which obviously the animators for the Ubisoft games do.
Well, cool. You want to hear my review?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So my review this week is Flight. Except I think we have to say it with, because it has an exclamation point in it, so it's like Flight. I don't know. Anyway, so Flight. I think I talked about it briefly as something I was playing, but essentially it's one of those games where you start and you're flying. I think there's been a few of them. Like there's like a Viking Flyer one, and then the Fly Kiwi Fly. But this one, basically, you start with your paper airplane, and you start throwing your paper airplane, and you try to get as far as you can. And at first you start in the background of England, and then you go down to France, and you eventually go all over the place, and through a whole bunch of different backgrounds. But that's really all the different locations are, is different backgrounds. And then you throw your plane, and there's a whole bunch of stars in the sky, and whenever you pick up a star, it's worth $5. Then there's these folded paper cranes, and whenever you pick up a folded paper crane, you get a multiplier on the stars you're collecting. So if you get one crane, then all of a sudden the stars are worth 10, or then you get 2 cranes, and it goes up from there up to 5 cranes, and then your stars are really valuable at $25 a piece. And so you collect the stars, and then you take that money after each flight, and you can go and upgrade your plane. And you can do a whole bunch of different upgrades. And it's a little strange because some of them you expect you get like more aerodynamic folding of the paper plane, um, and you get better models and lighter weight and a better throwing. However, you also get a fire engine, like which just seems a little strange to me. And you then also get fuel, and when you touch the screen, then you turn your booster on and you're able to go really, really fast. And you're also able to gain altitude if you're falling. So that allows you to make it a lot further when you add on an engine onto a paper airplane. So it's not really realistic, but I mean, not many video games are. So it's kind of fun though, because you slowly get a better and better flight, and you start out and you're only getting 10, 15 feet, and then by the end you're getting a few hundred, or I think my longest is like 1,000 feet or something like that. So it's really, really cool. And then they have a whole bunch of nice achievements in it. However, a lot of the achievements build on each other a little bit. So like the first achievement is clearing England in 15 days or under, and then France in 30. However, if you took 16 days on England, then that means that it's harder to do France, if that makes sense. And it just they get harder and harder. So you go, and if you don't get one, it basically means that you're out for clearing those ones fast. However, there's lots of other ones about reaching different altitudes and going different lengths, and it's a really simple game, but it's one that I found myself really getting into and wanting to. Oh, if I can just get the next power up, then I'll be ready to go, and I'll be able to get into the next world and the next background. And it's a lot of fun. It's well put together. Armor Games seems to be doing a few of these. I think they're the publisher. I'm not sure who the actual developer is, but it seems like they are starting to make a name for themselves as publishing, a series of quality games. So it's nice to see that. And you can also, if you want, you can change the color of your airplane and change the paint job. And yeah, it's a fun little game, and I'm actually really enjoying it. So you can, if you want, go and buy extra bucks using money. And I'm actually wondering if you have to do that really to have a chance at some of those really high level achievements. But I mean, for 99 cents, I really enjoyed this, and I played it for a couple of hours, and I really enjoyed it. So if you're interested in those types of flying games, this is a really good, well put together one. And yeah, 99 cents on the App Store, and that is Flight with an exclamation point at the end.
Awesome. Yeah, you definitely want to scream that when you see a game with an exclamation in it, but doesn't do good things with the mic. So good. Thanks for not doing that.
Yeah. Do you ever like those types of games where you're trying to fly further? Or...
Yeah, that kind of like it's kind of like the games that are just high score based. You want to get like the biggest high score. It's like Cannibalt, I guess, where you're trying to get as far as you possibly can. Things like Flight. I think it's a game I've tried once upon a time, and I really kind of dug it, but it didn't do anything to kind of hold my my attention for too long. But yeah, they're a lot of fun, I guess. Is the long answer to the short question.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. So yeah, if you're interested, it's a pretty good game. 4 out of 5, and yeah, I liked it. So yeah, I think you had one more review tonight.
That's right. I'm going to be doing a review of Lili from BitMonster that came out a couple weeks ago, and it's $5 on the App Store. People might have seen Lili before without really knowing what the game was. It was actually shown at one of Apple's keynotes, and it's basically a 3D action game where you play Lili, who's a girl, and you're on a mysterious island to collect flower specimens for one of your I think it's a flower magical class from whatever university you're going to. So really kind of odd. This island is divided into 4 sections, and it's basically it's an island that's filled with spirits, and the spirits are these things that look kind of like tree trunks with masks on, and they have a nasty habit of growing flowers and other various things out of their backs when you jump on their backs. And then besides this, the spirits, which are the little running around guys that you have to kind of do battle with, there's constructs, which are creatures that are made out of wood, and they all have various looks and personalities, and they are in control, or they're being controlled by the spirits. One spirit in particular, which is the mayor of this island. So that's basically what you kind of learn when you first jump into the world. The game itself is, as I said, kind of a 3D, I don't know, it's kind of an action adventure game where you're running around this world. All your controls are done by tappings and sliding. So you move the camera just by sliding your finger around. To start walking, you tap. To run, you double tap. To stop, you tap again. Controls are really easy, and the graphic engine they use is Unreal. It's the Unreal Engine. It is Unreal, but it is also the Unreal Engine. And so the game itself looks really nice, and it has this really interesting art style where everything is kind of like, I want to say kind of Scooby-Doo-ish, if you've seen any of the new Scooby-Doo cartoons. I say that even though the main character looks kind of like the girl with the orange sweater in Scooby-Doo, even though that's not why I said it looks Scooby-Doo-ish. It just looks very similar to kind of like the art style in some of the new computer animation, where things are a little bit like the heads are a little bit bigger, the facial features are a little bit bigger, and it looks really good with this engine because you have like big chunky hair and big glasses, and it just kind of pops. Like the art style is gorgeous, and as you're running around the island, you're going into buildings and things, and they're all like individually laid out. So there's like a bathroom with a toilet. Oftentimes the toilet is just a stump of wood with a hole cut in it, with like a roll of toilet paper kind of on one of the branches that is coming off from the stump, which is kind of weird because these are the homes of the constructs, which are made of wood, and they're using wood and they eat wood. It's just really weird. And the thing about this game is it has a really good humor from like there's not a lot of voice, like you say like the like that type of thing, but there's a lot of text that you have to read, and it's actually really funny in a lot of the areas. So anyway, the game revolves around you doing different things for the trainer, who's this guy that looks like I don't know, a judo or a karate instructor. He has kind of like the headband and the sash, and he jumps around like crazy. And he gets you to do things, and most of them revolve around getting a number of red flowers from the spirits that are running around. So you'll see in the game you have a map, and when you look at the map, there's blue dots and red dots. Red dots are the spirits. The blue dots are the constructs. So constructs are friends. You should talk to them because they give you quests and things like that. The red guys are the spirits, and they run away from you because they don't want you to pick their flowers. So the game has a form of combat, even though you're not using weapons. You're not actually really hurting anybody. You run up to one of the spirits who's trying to run away from you, and if you catch them, you jump on their back, and out of their back, you'll get different things that will grow. You'll get white flowers, which if you pick, you have to pick a certain number of white flowers to kind of beat that guy. There's thorns, which obviously hurt you. There's bombs that will explode. There's little just bunches of leaves and things like that, and there's a flower that also sprouts coins, which you want to pick if you ever see it. So your character herself has three different attributes. It has the grip, the speed, and there's something else that I can't even think of right now. Grip, speed, and stealth. So as you do different things in the game, you level up, and trainer will grant you I guess a pip in either grip, strength, or stealth, and you can get up to 5 of each of them. There's also items that will give you bonuses to your grip, your strength, and your speed and your stealth. So stealth allows you to sneak up closer to the spirits before they run away in fear. Speed allows you to obviously chase them faster, and grip is probably the most important thing later in the game, because if you ever miss a swipe to pick, like say if you're trying to pick a bomb off before it explodes, if you miss, you actually lose a little bit of your grip, and the little bar at the top of the screen gets smaller and smaller, and if it gets all the way to the bottom, you fall off him and you have to chase him down again. So when I first started playing the game, I put a lot of stuff into speed because I was like, yeah, I want to catch the guys faster. If I was smart, I would have put everything into grip to begin with, because later in the game, that is really what makes the game almost a little bit annoying at points when you're fighting these things. So when you first start the game, you're in the one area, the main area of this island, and you do a certain number of quests, and then it opens up access to another section of the island. You do more quests there, it opens up the third and then the fourth. In a lot of the different this island is all just basically littered with buildings and things. A lot of the doors are locked, so you then find a guy that will sell you keys, and they're like skeleton keys. So one key will open one door, but to get the keys, you have to trade white flowers. So you have to fight more of these spirits to get more white flowers, to then trade for keys, to get into the houses, to get chests, to get items for quests, and it just keeps you moving forward and going further and further and further. There's a guy that sells items, and the various items will allow you to do different things to kind of make your gameplay a little bit easier. The first item is a sandwich, and if you eat the sandwich, it makes you run faster. So you don't even really need to upgrade your speed at all. You just need to have a bunch of sandwiches that you can eat to get your boost of speed. The second one is a green potion that if you take it, you turn invisible. Basically allows you to sneak up on anybody. Or later in the game, some of the spirits will have these shields, and they'll run at you and basically shield bash you and knock you away. If you want to sneak past them, you take one of the invisibility potions. And then most importantly, there's a bomb. And you think the bomb would be used to stun enemies, where I guess it could do that. But where it's useful is when you're on their back, and later in the game, when you pick up one of the flowers, the white ones, it'll sometimes go into a fever mode. So sometimes it'll be like fever, which basically just makes a bunch of like plants grow out of them they don't really do anything, but they don't hurt you. You'll have thorn fever, which sprouts a bunch of thorns on the back, and if you touch them, you take some damage. There's coin fever, which is awesome because you get a lot of coins really quickly. And then there's bomb fever, where these spirits will sprout a bunch of bombs on their back that you have to pick off. In the first three sections, it's super simple. There's no problem. But when you get into the fourth world, so many bombs appear, and they have such small timers that it's almost impossible for you to beat them. So you basically use one of your bombs, and it gets rid of all the negative things that are on the guy's back, and you can basically pick the white flower and continue. So the game near the end basically revolves around you buying a whole stack of bombs so that you can beat one of the spirits and then go further in the game and get further through the different missions and things like that. So the bombs themselves cost 160 coins, which basically you have to beat one spirit or break a bunch of vases or open a bunch of treasure chests to get that gold. But to help you out, of course, the developers have put in a bunch of in-app purchases, so you can buy coin doublers. So that's something that I'll buy on most games. I'll buy a coin doubler just so I never run out of gold. And you almost have to in this game if you don't want to sit there in the fourth world and grind. I'm still grinding, and I've had the coin doubler since the first world. So it's 99 cents already on top of the $5 you paid for the game. They'll also sell you gold if you want, and there's a gambling game where you can gamble your red flowers for gold, although it's basically just a meaningless small amount of gold. And red flowers they're the last flower that you pick from the spirit. So you pick a certain number of white flowers, and then it sprouts a red flower. You pick it, and then he gets mad at you, and you get the bio for the enemy, and then he runs away, or he floats into the ether or whatever. Excuse me. So that's essentially what Lili is, and it sounds really absurd, but when you play it, I don't know, there's just the charm with the art style, the objectives keep you going, just like the text in the world, the art style, everything is just, it's so awesome, so well done that I'm playing this game like crazy. I haven't completely finished. Sorry, what's that?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting some echo from you, so I'll just turn you down a bit. So I'm basically just constantly wanting to play this game more and more to get further. I am almost to the end of the fourth world. I got a couple more spirits to hunt down so that I can 100% everything. So I can basically, I've unlocked all the spirits. I think I have another 6, I want to say 7, 8. I have another 8 that I have to track down and find and destroy. And the other neat thing about this is when you're fighting a spirit, you can get between 1 and 3 stars based on your score for beating him. So if you want to get as much out of this game as possible, you can actually try to 3-star each individual spirit. And you do that by going into the menu and looking at their bio, and then there's a rematch button. So if you hit rematch, it spawns a copy of that character in the world so that you can then go and try to beat them and get 3 stars. So anyway, that's Lili. It's this really charming third-person action game with a really great art style, a really funny story, good writing and everything. And just, I mean, the graphics, like in their iTunes write-up, they say it's console quality graphics. And you see a lot of developers put that in there just because they try to trick people into thinking that they're not, or just assuming that people aren't smart enough to realize that when they say console quality, just because they said it doesn't make it so. This game definitely looks like something that you could play on your PlayStation 3. Like the engine itself is like buttery smooth. Moving the camera around, it's not choppy at all. I'm playing on the new iPad, so I don't know if it is choppier on older iPads. Maybe that's the case, but it just looks phenomenal on the new iPad, even though it's pushing like so many pixels to the screen because of the Retina display. The art style and everything, even though it's not like the most detailed, like it's not obviously not photorealistic, the art style itself is just amazing. I mean, you can zoom in and look around and just kind of really enjoy kind of the beauty that is in this world that they've created. So I'm loving Lili. I love everything about this game. I'm really glad I picked it up. I just kind of picked it up on a whim. I wanted something to play one evening, and it is definitely one of the better games that I've played in the last little while. Enjoy it fully at $4.99, even though there is in-app purchase where you almost have to buy the 99-cent coin doubler to make the game kind of useful. I still give the game a 5 out of 5. So think of it as a $6 game. Buy it for $5. Go, and the first time you get to the shop, buy the coin doubler, and you'll have no problem. You won't have to grind. It won't become a chore, and you'll just fall in love with the world that you're running around in. So anyway, that's Lili. Check it out. $5 on the App Store, and is worth every single penny. It's games like this that make me love the iOS App Store. I play games on every console, but there's just something so, I don't know, I guess rewarding about, oops, I don't want Siri to be talking to me right now, about I don't know, finding these little gems that these like small development houses have put together and kind of thrown all the love into without really like having like an EA or an Ubisoft behind them to get it onto the App Store. Just so awesome. Anyway, check it out. Lili, $5. You'll love it if you do check it out.
That's interesting. I might have to check that one out. I've seen it, and I don't know. The combat system looked a little strange to me, but
yeah, like the good thing is it's not really combat, so it's kind of like my kids watch me play it and they enjoy it, and there's like no blood flying out. You're picking flowers and weeds off the back of these spirits, and I don't know, it's fun. It is a really, really fun game. I hope one of these comes out every month, and I will buy them for $5. It's just, these experiences are just really great. It makes me just really love this platform even more.
Yeah, I'm kind of a fan of those coin doubler things, especially if it means that I don't have to make other in-app purchases, and I think it's not a bad way to go, even though it is a little strange to do after kind of a premium price of $5 on the app. So
yeah, exactly. Like usually if a game is free or 99 cents, I'll buy the coin doubler just to reward the developer. This one, I did it because I was looking at the prices of things, and I'm like, you know what, this could get really expensive if I need a lot of items. And I kind of guessed right, because as you buy, like you have your 3 different stats, and you can level them up by doing quests, or you can buy items. And the first item I believe is 150 coins, and then it's like 600 coins, and then it's like 1500 coins. So you need a lot of coins just to buy the better items. And then you're buying bombs like crazy. Like in the fourth world, I've probably bought like 30 bombs at 150 coins each, and I would have had to grind like crazy if I had to actually go get those coins without having the coin doubler. It's just making my gameplay that much more enjoyable.
Sounds good.
All right, well, that's gonna about do it for this episode. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for staying tuned, and thanks for listening and subscribing. Definitely let us know what you think. Head on over to vgpodcast.com. Click contact us at the top of the page. Just send us an email. Email us directly at vgpodcasts@gmail.com. Join our forums. We have our forums over at vgpodcast.com/forums. They're well used, but we could always use a few new people coming in and posting. The really cool thing about that is they're tied into the comments on the site as well. So if you want to comment on a post, you actually have joined the forums, and you can get in and chat with us there as well. If you have a voice question, or you want to record a small review, do that by calling our voicemail line at area code 505 VG Podcasts. All right, man. Thanks again for joining me, Jared.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure.
Now,
we'll talk to you next week.
Even though you've listened to me for now 3 hours today.
Oh, it's like 3.5 at least.
Wow, that's awesome. You just love my voice so much, Jared, I can tell.
I can't get enough.
All right, guys, that's going to about do it for episode 118 of Touch of Gaming. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week. Later, guys.